Salve Discipuli. Greetings, girls and boys. Hopefully you had an opportunity to listen to Mrs. Ingalls reading aloud All the Places to Love today. I want to remind you and all of our families that we really value rereading books over and over. I know that I've read this book so many times, and every time I find something new, whether it is in the illustrations or looking at the rich text and language. So today we want to talk a little bit about sort of how we would work through a story chart. And I love this story because everything about it is soft and gentle. Remember that when we talk about sort of analyzing the literature, we think first of the exposition. What I first want you to do is tell your home teacher, or just shout it out across the house, tell your brother or your sister, what does the word exposition mean? Did you tell someone in your home that exposition is the stuff we need to know to get the story started? It's the stuff that's going on right at the beginning and even sometimes before the story. In this case, we have our first page. On the day I was born, my grandmother wrapped me in a blanket made from the wool of her sheep. So we can know that this story is going to have a lot to do with family. And it sounds like a loving family that's close, and also a family that's probably connected to the land, made from the wool of her sheep. So you've got this warm love and connection. But we're going to find something else out as well. We're going to find out that being born into this family is also connected to having a place to love. The valley, the river, the hilltop. So that's our exposition, and it gets us started. Remember that as we talk about analyzing literature, we think about what characters want. And we have to really dig deep to connect to any kind of conflict in this story, because it's such a gentle, sweet story. But if we as we read, we'll come to some understanding of what Eli might want. We find out that Grandpa spends some time in the barn, and we learn about this tradition of names being carved in the wood. We find out that these family members spend a lot of time in nature together, and that they each have a favorite place. We've got Papa laying down in the field, and we've got Grandmother, and she loves the river. We also find out that Mama has a place that she loves best, up there with the blueberries. And each character, you get the sense that they feel that their best place is the best place. Back to Grandfather in the barn where we started. And there's all this kind of build-up thinking about the place that each one loves most. Where else, Grandpa says, can the soft sound of cows chewing make all the difference in the world? So I want to come back to this and say that we have this sort of buildup of the special places. And I get the sense that Eli's trying to figure out maybe a little bit, is there a best place, or is it okay for everybody to just have their own favorite place? But as you read it, see if you can get a feeling that we're building towards something. We're waiting for something. And it's like, what does Eli want? Today we wait, and we get this sense of what is coming. Obviously, we have a sibling on the way. I wonder here if what Eli is thinking, and it might be fun to talk at home. What's he have his eye on? What's he feeling, waiting for, and thinking? Well, then we hear the moment that takes us up, that kind of answers that question. He says, "My sister is born." And we get the sense that Sylvie's arrival answers the sort of call that's been in Eli's heart and the heart of his family. I love this line. And it gets us back to the idea that, is there a favorite place? Someday I might live in the city. Someday I might live by the sea. But soon I will carry Sylvie on my shoulders through the fields. And we go on to hear that regardless of where else she might be in her life, she'll know her heritage and the place that she's from. And we find that Eli will show her his favorite place and get the feeling that Eli has something he's been waiting to share. And now he's the one who will have the place to share, just as Grandpa had a place to share, and Mama had a place to share, and Grandma had a place to share. Now Eli will be the one with the place to share. So I get that sense when we try to figure out what, in a sweet book like this, there's not really a conflict, but there's just this sort of idea of what Eli might want. And I feel like it's revealed there for us. He wants to be the one showing, and he accomplishes this with his little sister. And as we wrap up our story, remember that's the denouement. We're putting all the pieces together, and we find out that all the places to love are here. And that as we wrap up, it's that sense that, sort of even something as small as the turtle, we can recognize the differences that are made. And so I really want to encourage you also to click on the link where Mrs. Ingalls takes us through the physical story chart after having had a chance to think aloud together. And I encourage you to follow along and to make the story chart she's making and pop that right in your BWJ. Have a great day, everyone.